Hi, I'm Pastor Valencia, and welcome to Study Your Bible. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. We are still busy with effective teaching, and I tell you what, has been such a refresher. Some of the things that I'd forgotten about, and I've been getting some messages from people, and many people have found these teachings quite helpful. I haven't had any negative feedback as yet. All feedback has been positive, so I'm grateful to God for that. I'm sure if it was negative, maybe people are actually holding back. And I did say some things might cause offense, but I'm hoping that not in a bad way. At first you get irritated with me because you think I know everything. And then you sit and you think about it and you realize, actually what she's saying is making sense. Guys, all I want to say to you is that I'm very passionate about teaching, very passionate about teaching. I believe in bringing my everything into the classroom. For me, teaching is not about how much I know. For me, that's not what it is. Even though it helps in the class, it really does help when you know quite a bit. But for me, teaching is not about how much I know. Teaching is how much I can truly impart to the learner. That for me is the most important thing. When a student gets it, then I know I'm good. But when the student does not get it, this is where we find the problem. And so I'm saying, as teachers, we have such a great responsibility. And I did say in one of our earlier videos that, God holds the teacher doubly accountable. And we as teachers are changing lives. We are impacting not just one human being, but we are shifting a focus and a thinking that's going to change an entire nation. That is what we are doing. That is what I always have at the back of my mind as a teacher. And like I said previously, I cannot stress enough how important it is for every teacher to continue learning. This is paramount. You must continue learning as a teacher. You grow until you die. You never get to the place where you are complacent. Satisfactory is not good. Being satisfied is not good. It's actually where you start going backwards. You should constantly be pursuing knowledge. Fill yourself up, and be able to discuss, not always in depth, but at least be able to touch on most subjects, But obviously, where your strengths lie. But show that you are knowledgeable even a little bit on the things that your students are interested in. This is all I'm saying. It just makes a better classroom. It makes a better learning environment. And today we're continuing on session 5, and we're talking today about the law of readiness. Right? The law of readiness, being ready. So, the teaching learning process will be the most effective when both students and teacher are adequately prepared. I cannot stress this enough. This highlights one of the great problems for the teachers. Their students come in cold. This is where your assignments come in. You will be continuing your time with the students through assignments. So always make sure that you give your students homework. Give them something to do. That whilst they're at home, they are still continuing to learn, so that when they come back to the classroom, they're not coming in cold. They're coming in prepared for the lesson. Even though, for example, if they have to prepare for an oral. So they've prepared for the oral, but maybe today's not their turn. Today we've got maybe from A to D we are doing today, right? But they don't know who's getting called next. And so they continuously being in a state of readiness their whatever it is they're supposed to be doing, or bring in the assignments, or practical assignments, not just written but practical assignments. So always give the children something to do, but also at the same time taking into account that they also have other teachers as well. Okay, so what would be a successful assignment? All right, and this is what we've got here. What we want to do is to precipitate thinking, right? That's what we want to do. Assignments are a mental warm-up. They preheat the mind so it's working before class begins. They provide a background, a foundation on which to build. The student is aware of problems and issues concerning the passage and how it relates to his life. Questions have surfaced. Curiosity is rising. So by the time they come into a classroom, they have things already going. One of the things that used to really get me when I was in school, especially at high school, when in English, because I enjoyed the literature part of it, and we would do poetry. Oh my gosh, and we had to go home and find out the rhyming scheme, find out something about the poet. Where was he? What was his mind? What was he thinking of? What is this thing actually about? Get the background knowledge and understanding, my goodness. And I would go and do this digging. Oh Lord, I loved it. By the time I came into the classroom, I had questions. I was like, I couldn't wait, right? I used to get so excited for poetry, you know. And especially since the way we did, I even did it at varsity. I just took it up for one semester as part of my studies. But I really, really, really enjoyed poetry. And so it got me coming into the classroom excited, you know. And sometimes my teacher would give me extra homework because she realized how much I enjoyed it. She would give me the extra things. And that's what happens is sometimes in the class you will have these students who are overzealous in certain subjects, and you would, you need to give them something extra. You need to meet them where they are. This is very important. Like, not every student comes in the classroom the same. Some children go and do their extra work. Some learn more. And so pay attention also to that learner. Give them something extra to do. Or if you find there's a learner who is struggling, then give them something extra to do. Doesn't have to be the same as everybody. Give them something extra to do, but to bring them kind of up to the level where others are, you know. So this is why it's important to know the learner, to know what's going on in their life, where they are, and how you could assist them, right? They develop habits of independent study, and this is the most important benefit of a good assignment. This encourages the students to study for themselves, not just to complete an assignment, but to actually study and get the stuff into their spirits, if I can put it that way. Today I find the learners are learning just to pass the exam, and so after the exam you ask them what they studied, or they can't even remember, you know. And that's because we also don't teach the children some learning techniques, you know. And this is why I think our next module that we're going to be doing on multiple intelligences, for those of you who are teachers, this is going to really assist you, because in your classroom, you could have all 8 of these different intelligences in your class. They all learn differently. And you know, when you begin to understand that, and the student understands how they learn, oh wow, it really changes the ball game, okay? They must be creative, not simply busy work. This means you need a clear objective for the assignments. They must be designed with a purpose. This takes preparation and time from the teacher. So when you're preparing an assignment, please think about your students. Think about what they need. Think about how this assignment is going to help them at every level. The one who's coming in entry level, the one who's average, and the one who's really smart. Like this assignment is going to be for everyone, not just for a specific learner. I know that school was designed, especially school, right, was designed for the academic. But not everybody in school is an academic. I certainly wasn't, okay? So You have to, whether you're at tertiary level, you've got to cater for all your students. And never have in the back of your mind, whatever happens in this class, I still get paid. Oh gosh, that line really gets to me, right? They must be thought-provoking, these assignments. They should question more answers rather than answers more questions, right? Stretch the learner's mind, push them to think. Some of them might say it's difficult. That's because they haven't been this far before. What you want to do is take them there and then just push them over. That's what you want to do. So to a point where they come back saying, gosh, I didn't even realize I could even understand or know this, So keep pushing them. As a teacher, this is our responsibility. The assignments must be doable. Don't make it unrealistic, please. Also, remember that you are not the only teacher, like I said earlier, right? So give the student ample time to complete the task. The lower your predictability, the higher your impact. This has to do with methods, not morals. Don't get stuck in a rut, be creative. These are people with worlds and emotions. Jesus was a creative teacher, and his spirit now abides in us all. So, you don't say, no, I can't, I don't have this creative ability. Yes, you do. You have God inside of you. You have his spirit inside of you. So you are creative. Everyone's creativity is not the same, but everybody is creative, right? Another thing that's important is to encourage class participation. This is very important, right? Really encourage them. No one wants to be wrong in front of a group of people. My motto in the class is, there is no stupid question. That's what I tell the students. There is no stupid question. And so this encourages everybody to speak, right? Affirm them when they participate. If the only thing you can do is smile and thank them for their participation, then do so. If they have contributed, then cheer them on, okay? Some people will give an answer and that's all they can give. And so, like we said earlier on, just nod and smile and say thank you. Be honest if you don't know an answer and research it for them. Okay, I personally do not believe in spoon feeding the children. I do not. So there are certain things I will share and tell, but then there's a point where you have to go a little further on your own. And this I encourage. I encourage them and I push them and I wait for answers. Sometimes I'll tell them, okay, look, if I don't know, I'll say go and look for it. I'll also look for it. And then you come back and you tell me and we'll compare notes. I'm not just going to go and look for it and give it to you. Well, no. Imagine. So that means I'm not encouraging you to learn. So only I'm the one that's increasing in knowledge. No ways. No ways. You go and learn. I'm also going to learn. And we're going to come together and we're going to put what we learned together and compare. And you might have found something that I didn't find, and I found something that you didn't find. But because we both have a starting point, okay, we then add to each other. So this for me is very important. Be honest if you don't know the answer and research it for them. You will lose the respect of your students if you try and bluff your way through a situation. When we humble ourselves, we always win. And so do the people we are dealing with. Say you don't know. Look, I think you got to get to a place in your life where you are confident within yourself. You're confident about who you are and what you know. I have no shame in saying I don't know. None whatsoever. It never even crosses my mind. Someone asks me, do you know? I say no. Sometimes people say to me, oh, Pastor V, can I ask you a question? I say, you can ask me a question, doesn't mean that I know the answer. That's my reply. Because I want it to be clear, I don't know everything. Right? If I do, I share it. If I don't, I say, sorry, I don't know. I didn't go over that, or I never took interest in that. And if it's not one of my students, I say, no, go find the answer. If it's one of my students, then I get involved. If it's a topic that interests me, I'll go and look on. But I've got so much going on as it is already. My focus is my students and my own personal learning. right? And what interests me, I pursue. Okay. So controlling discussion dominators. So it's common to get a student that loves to share their thoughts and feelings, right? Because we always have those in the classroom. Although the enthusiasm is commendable, the other students can be hampered and not get the opportunity to contribute. So here's what I do. In the class, on my right-hand side, I don't know why, but all the students that like to talk sit on the one side. Then on my left-hand side, you get all the others that generally keep quiet about stuff. So I'll ask, if I know I've got quite a few questions to ask, I'll ask, and then I see that, okay, this side is answering too much. I say, okay, hold on. Let's get this side. I'll try my best not to pick on anyone. I'll wait to see who answers first. And then if no one answers, then I'll choose someone to try, And then it's like, I'll tell them, okay, you're almost there or whatever it is. But I encourage everybody to participate. This for me is very important. I let them say, hold on. You guys are talking too much this side. I need the people this side to start talking. So I always do my best to make sure that everybody's engaged. No one feels left out, because there are those that as soon as you ask a question, the hand is up. And I like that, because praise God for them, because sometimes nobody else is answering. However, we must make sure to engage and to get everybody answering in the classroom, because for me as a teacher, it gets me to see how much of the class understands. So even sometimes before I start my lesson, I start asking questions. I love questions. I start asking questions about the course. Maybe I'm not doing the first session 1 or session 2. I'm coming in later. So then I kind of ask questions like, what is this? What is this? To see how much they've picked up. What is this? What is this? Then I can see, okay, where the class is. Then I take it from there. I believe it's very important to assess what is going on with your students and where they are. This is absolutely vital. So make sure that everybody in the class is participating, right? Express appreciation for whoever contributes. Talk to them privately and thank them for their input. More often than not, their self-esteem is low. This is their chance to be in the limelight. This is the ones who are always answering, right? So sometimes we can privately ask them, to give others a chance. But I actually, to be honest with you, I think sometimes this might be taking it a bit extreme. For me, in the classroom, maybe it's because I have a very good understanding with my students, an absolutely amazing understanding with my students. And in the classroom, I say, whoa, can we get... So-and-so's been quiet for such a long time, But I suppose wherever you are in the world, the rules are different and your classroom environment is different. So some people might get offended. So you might have to take the person who talks a lot in the class, take them out, but find a way of speaking to them so they don't feel embarrassed in the class, like as if you being nasty to them, okay? Because sometimes people are insecure, and when you say things to them, they take it so personal. They think that you don't like them, you dislike them. So it's very important how you approach that, how you speak to them about that. So if you have to, take them out the classroom and then just explain, you are so smart. Like, gosh, if it wasn't for you, sometimes the class would be super quiet. So thank you so much for always being that one student that always participates. Can I ask you though, if you don't mind, let's rather give some people a chance, right, to talk, because some people are quiet. If no one's talking, please, by all means, go ahead. So let's just see, give them a couple of seconds to see. Now, however, look, I'm just thinking off the cuff now, okay? You don't have to do it that way. You can find your own way of doing it. But I'm saying, however it is, it should never get to the point where any one of your learners feel like they're not liked. Because what you want is a good classroom environment. This is important. During class, call on them to answer a question. So sometimes you'll ask a question and say, okay, I want this one to answer. So even after you've had the conversation with them, they don't feel like as if they're being victimized, right? They feel they're still loved, and you reinforce your love for them, okay? So instead of stifling them, get them on your team. Get the student to probably do some extra things for you. So what the student could learn through the situation will help in many other situations down the road. Remember that the lessons you teach are not just for today, but they are to help shape these students into winners, okay? And then another thing to develop in the students is to ask them to always take notes in class. Always write down. So here again, you are focusing on your content area through one learning style while adding another. This is beneficial because when the student writes the content down, he is far more likely or she is far more likely to remember it later. Provide them with the basic outline. This helps the students' confidence because they can keep track of where they are in the lesson. Week by week, provide them with less detail. Give the main idea as you discuss it. Have them write down the details that go with the main point. When you are beginning, repeat the main point and tell them they will need to write this down. So make sure you get them to the place where they're constantly writing things down. Even when I'm preaching, every now and again I ask people, especially in our church, in the Finlands branch, they know that as soon as I step onto the podium, get your pad out or get your phone out and start typing, because you're not going to remember everything, right? So it's very important, even when I'm sitting at my pastor's ministering, I got my phone out, I'm taking notes because I'm not going to remember all the scriptures, I'm not going to remember all the things he said, and sometimes he's saying the most amazing things and I have not written it down. So sometimes the things he says is so thought-provoking and I have not written it down because I'm going to forget it later. Because we got so much information happening all the time. You're having conversations, you're talking to people about different things, someone's drawing on something from you, and then you forgot about what was said there. Now you have an idea. So all you do is encourage your learners to make sure they take notes, right? Week by week, provide them with less detail, as I said that. Train them to listen intelligently. They will begin to listen for the point of the examples instead of writing down the examples, right? Note-taking takes the student from the fringe right to the very heart of the learning process. When the information is in their handwriting, they have an ownership of the content they didn't have before, right? Let's look at some violations and mistakes that teachers make, right? It's very important knowing that which we would teach. You must know what you are teaching. Unprepared because of pride is in your own ability, right? The very ignorance of one's pupils may tempt the teacher to neglect careful preparation and study. Here is what I tell my lecturers. I tell them, when someone's sitting in front of you, don't for 1 second think that person does not know anything. Don't make that mistake. Sometimes you'll find, wherever you are, whether it's in primary school, high school, and tertiary education, wherever it is, never underestimate the people that are sitting in your class. Not for a second. You might just come across a student that knows more than you. Case in point is my own daughter. She was at college and her lecturer was teaching maths. My daughter is quite smart. So, no, I don't know where she got it from. It wasn't from me. So she's sitting in a lecture and the teacher's doing a calculation at college, doing a calculation, and then she says to the teacher, the calculation is wrong. And he says, no, it's not. She says it's wrong. And she shows him where he went wrong and where he was right and where he went wrong. This embarrassed him. And then he began to mock her. It embarrassed him because she corrected his calculation. So don't come into a classroom thinking everybody does not know. No. You need to make sure that you are fully prepared for your lesson, no matter where you are. Right? Number one, right? So he thinks or she thinks he knows much more than the pupils do. Thus, they assume they will think up something to say. Make it up on the spot. No. Can I tell you something? Do you think the students don't know? Oh, the way they're talking about you. They will talk about you. Okay, I mentioned in one of my other videos, how is it that a grade 4 learner understood that a certain teacher was better than everyone else? How is it? Because my daughter said to me, I do not want to go to anyone's class except this teacher. She's going to grade 5. I said, why are you going to go there? She says, Mommy, the teacher really teaches and all the students pass. And she hits the children. But, well, I'm not sure where you're watching from, but here in South Africa, when we were growing up, this is before 1994, we got hiding in school. And punishment in school was normal. And even after, it's only recently now where the children are not allowed to be hit. This is why there's no more discipline in the schools. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But she understood that. So you can't tell me that the students don't know which teacher's lazy, which teacher teaches, who's a good teacher and who's not. Trust me when I tell you, they're talking about you. My granddaughter comes back and tells me, no, that's a very good teacher. That's a very good, not that one. They know. So if you think for 1 second that you're getting away with it, you're not. There's a bad reputation about you if you're a lazy teacher. And when you're a good teacher, they talk about you too. Everybody talks about you. Every student wants to come into your class. So you don't get away with these things. Okay? And even your colleagues know it as well. Make no mistake. They'll smile at you, but everyone knows. So you better up your game if that is you. So the teacher thinks ignorance will go unnoticed. The cheat is almost sure to be discovered, and from that time, the teacher standing with the class is gone. No more respect for you. Right? Sometimes we're unprepared because of faulty thinking. Some teachers assume that it is the pupil's work, not theirs, to study the lesson, and that with the aid of the book in hand, they will be able to easily ascertain whether the pupils have done their duty. You're teaching from the book. A teacher's indifference and lack of preparation will discourage students to study. It is better to let one of the pupils who knows his lesson examine the others than to discourage study by your own indifference and lack of preparation. Teaching is not merely hearing lessons, okay? Because if that's the case, then we can all just read the notes. Inadequate preparation because of a lack of time or heart, this is unacceptable. Some teachers assume they can fill the period with the little they glean from the teacher's manual. They look hastily through the lesson and conclude that though they have not thoroughly mastered it, or perhaps any parts of it, they have gathered enough to fill the period. Some supplement their limited knowledge with fluff. If they run out of prepared lesson material, they supplement the little they know with random talk or a story. Yeah, the children know that as well. Or lacking time or heart for any preparation, they dismiss all thoughts of teaching. They fill the hour with such exercise as may occur to them and hope that as the school is a good thing anyway, the pupils will receive some benefit from mere attendance. A more serious fault is that of those who, failing to find stimulation in the lesson, make it mere framework upon which to hang some fancies of their own. In the worst case, the teacher tries to cover their lazy ignorance with some pompous pretense of learning. So, they use high-sounding phrases beyond the comprehension of the pupils. I'm sorry. When people start using all these big, highfalutin words, who are you trying to impress? Who are you trying to impress? Your students need to understand what you're saying. Go and take that and go and put that there by other teachers. Go and talk like that in front of the teacher, not in front of your students. It's like this. So I studied theology, I studied a good couple of things. Like I said before, I'm busy doing my doctorate. But you'll never hear me, even in my videos, communicate like I am talking to all only pastors and theologians, and it's not necessary. I'm trying to teach something. I need you to understand what I'm saying. This is important to me. I'm not, like I said earlier on, I'm not here to sound so amazing and so smart. No. In fact, sometimes I'll even look silly just trying to get the point across because this is important to me. Right? So another camouflage is actually uttering solemn platitudes in a wise tone. A third trick is to claim extensive study and information which he has not the time to lay properly before them. Okay? Just like what I did just now. I told you guys what I studied and what I did. So sometimes a teacher will do something like that and then say, oh, I don't have time to explain all these things. Then you shouldn't have studied in the first place if you're going to put it into your classroom. Okay? So it's very important how you come across in your classroom. Amen? This brings us to the end of session 5. I pray to God that these lessons are really blessing you. And I want you to know that I love each and every one of you, and I'm praying for you. I'm believing God that every person who is watching these videos or who is watching these videos are taking what I'm saying, looking at your own classroom environment and seeing how you can make it better. And if you've been enjoying these videos, please let me know. If you're obsessed with me about something and you feel maybe I don't understand certain things, please let me know as well. I won't take offense, I promise. I have people commenting all the time and saying different things, and not everybody agrees with me. And that's life. Okay? I know that not everybody's going to agree with me. I hope that most people do, but not everybody's going to agree with me. I'm still going to say what I need to say anyway, though. And I'm praying to God that you are blessed by these videos and that it's really helping you, but most importantly, it's going to help your students. Amen. Always remember, please, it is the truth of God that sets you free. Amen. God bless.